So what we're going to do for our half treble is grab your short piece in your left hand, wrapping your yarn around your finger twice, holding on to the long piece, pulling your left to loop, keeping tension on here as well, over and off your finger, pulling down on the long piece to keep that tension. You're going to wrap it over again, grabbing the left piece, pulling up and over, and off, pushing up with your finger, you have a slip knot. There are plenty of different ways to make this slip knot, but that's just how I do it. So what we need to do is make our chain stitches, so we should know how to do that by now. What we're going to do is go under with the hook, twisting the hook and pulling through. Under the yarn and pulling through. So we're actually yarning over, which is what it will say in a pattern. Yarn over and through. So you want to do this until you have about 10 stitches. A couple more or a couple less won't matter, because it's just for a practice. So I haven't even counted, I've just kept going. So to do our half treble crochet, what we want to do is go into the second chain from the hook, and we never count this first one on our hook. Here is our first one, so it's our first V. Our second V is our second stitch. But what we want to do this time is yarn over first, so our hook goes underneath our yarn and the yarn's gone over. You're going to go into the second chain from the hook. Then you are going to yarn over, so the hook goes under, yarn over, pull through, just the one loop. We have 3 in our hook, yarning over and pulling through all 3. You just completed your first half treble. Let's go another one. So yarn over, hook goes under, go into your next stitch, yarn over, pulling through a loop. You've got 3 on your hook, grabbing your yarn, so yarn over and pull through all 3. That was number 2. Let's go for the third. Yarn over, going into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You've got 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. You just completed 3 stitches. So we're going to repeat this all the way to the end. We're going to yarn over, we're going to go into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. You've got 3. You're going to yarn over and pull through all 3. So yarn over, go into the next stitch. I'll just tell you how to do this one and then I'll be quiet so you can concentrate. Yarn over, pull through a loop, we've got 3. Yarn over, pull through all 3. So just complete this all the way to the end of your chain. Then going into your last chain space, completing your stitch, you've done your very first row of half trebles. So now we want to go up to our next row. How do we do that? What we need to do is chain 2 stitches. Now you can chain and turn your work, or you can turn your work and then chain. It really doesn't make any difference. So I'm going to chain my 2 stitches, then I'm going to spin my work around. So now we want to go up to the next row, and our chain 2 always counts as our first stitch. This is our first 2 stitches there. Sorry, it's our first stitch. It's our 2 chains there. And our first stitch is there, so we're ignoring that space. So what we want to do is working to the next space, which is there. So what we do is we yarn over, hook's gone under. We're going into that next stitch, so remember you ignore the first one, go into the second. And we've gone under 2 loops. See how there's 2 loops on the top there? Then we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 3. So you're going to repeat the half treble, and we're going to go all the way across, so yarning over, go into the next stitch, pulling up a loop, you've got 3, pull through all 3. So we're going all the way to the end, and when you get to the end you're going to have your last stitch, and your last stitch is always the chaining from the beginning, from the previous row, beginning of the previous row. So we've got this little blob that's on the end here. So what we do is we go into, just here there is a stitch, and you go through and you try and get the 2 loops. Did I get them? I think I have. Yes, I did. I have 2 loops there. If you can only ever get the 1, it doesn't matter. Just for your practice it won't matter, but you've got to try and get the 2. If you can only get 1, it's fine. So then you complete your stitch as normal. Then what you want to do, we want to chain 2, and that gets us up to our next row. Because remember, our chain 2 is the first stitch. So here is our first stitch, we ignore that one, we go into the second. So we're going to yarn over, hook goes under, into that second stitch, remember, because the chaining counts as our first stitch, into the second, and completing your stitch as normal. And to make that longer, you just keep going and you get to the end, and then you do your chain, and you can repeat this all the way until it's long enough. Great to make a scarf, just make your chain as long as you want the width of your scarf, and then keep going until it's long enough. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video. Please subscribe because there will be a lot more tutorials coming up. Until next time, happy crochet!